Well, hello, my fourth grade students and Professor Barry. As you know, I'm your teacher, Miss Widergren. And today, just like the last few days, we are doing a homework assignment through the flipped classroom. And so what that means, you should be used to it by now. I'm going to be teaching a new concept. And today, that is friction. And what you're going to do is listen, fill out your flip book, and then come to class prepared, knowing everything about it. Alright, now before we jump into our new concept for the day, I would like us to do a little bit of review with 4 of our old vocabulary words. Now the last 2 weeks we have been doing a unit on force and motion and different things about objects that are moving from point A to point B. So right now you should be on this page of your flip book, and what you're going to do is fill in the blanks with the correct vocabulary word. So let's look at number 1, and it describes how fast an object is moving. So how fast this car is getting from point A to point B, and that is speed. Now our second vocabulary word is kinetic energy, and that is the energy of motion. Now we know that there are 2 kinds of energy, kinetic and potential. And the way we remember kinetic is that it's when you are in motion, so not at rest. So look at this girl going down the slide. Now she is going down it, so she's moving, and that matches our definition of kinetic energy. Now our next vocabulary word is potential energy. Now we just kind of talked about it, that it is different than kinetic energy, which is the energy of motion. And potential energy, like it says in your flip book, is stored energy in an object when in a position at rest. So let's look at our picture. Now the last one we saw that our girl going down the slide, she was moving, she was having an awesome time going really fast. But this time she is just sitting at the top of the slide. So she has the potential to move, but she hasn't yet done it. So she's just sitting there at rest. And that is potential energy. Now our last vocabulary that should be a review is force. Now it says that force is any push or pull that causes an object to move, stop, or change in speed or direction. So let's look at our picture. It is a picture of a standard door that we've all walked through at some point. Now this handle, you can push it, and this handle, you can pull it. They're both examples of force because you're exerting a force on the door so that it changes direction and speed. Now as we talk about our next vocabulary word of the day, I want you to go like this with your hands for about 10 seconds, and you may realize, well, my hands are getting a little warm, and why in the world is Miss Widergren making me rub my hands together? Well, this has everything to do with our new concept called friction. Now, by this time, you should be on this page of your flip book. And in these blanks, I want you to write the definition of friction. Now, friction is the resistance to a motion, so the resistance to maybe me sliding down a slide, created by 2 objects moving against each other. So 2 objects, maybe my jeans and the slide, rubbing against each other as I'm going down it. And friction creates heat. So let's consider our hands moving against each other. So we have object number 1 and object number 2, my hands, moving against each other, causing friction and creating heat. And that is what we are going to be exploring a little bit more today and in class tomorrow. Because friction is a new concept, let's unpack it just a little bit by looking at some examples. Now I said that going down the slide was one example, as well as rubbing your hands together because it involves 2 objects rubbing against each other and creating some kind of heat. So let's look at 3 more examples, and then I want you guys to come up with one on your own. So the first one is, well, one of my favorite things to do, and that is going sledding during the winter. So we have our friend Johnny going down a snow slope in his sled. So the 2 objects moving against each other, causing friction, are his sled and the ice along the hill. So it's making him go fast as the 2 objects rub against each other and cause friction. Now number 2 on this side right here is a tire. So a tire of a car, a tire of maybe your bike, any kind of tire made of rubber rubbing against the pavement of the ground. In number 3, we have our friend Sarah. She's standing next to your kitchen table, moving the bowl across to the other side. So we see, what are our 2 objects? Well, we see the bowl moving across the wood table. So 2 objects rubbing against each other, causing friction and creating heat. Sometimes it may slow down the movement of the object, or sometimes it may speed it up, such as ice or maybe something slippery like soap. Is that starting to make sense? We will be going over more of this tomorrow if you have any questions. All right, 4th graders, we are sliding into page 4 of our flip book right here. And you see these socks going down the wood floor of a house or in a kitchen or something like that. And well, that is exactly what I did. I caused friction with the socks that I'm wearing in the wood floor of my dorm room. And so what I want you to think about in this page of your flip book is 3 reasons why it makes it harder for you to slide on the ground in your tennis shoes versus your socks. Now, I'm sure you guys have done this before, but maybe you never realized that it is a practical example of friction. Because remember, it is 2 objects rubbing against each other. So my socks are rubbing against the ground, creating heat and allowing movement to occur. All right, guys, we are on our last page of our note-taking today in our friction flip book, and it should look like this. Now, what I want you guys to do in the blanks at the top is in your own words to write the definition of friction. Now, the first example we talked about was rubbing our hands together, and we said going down the slide was one, maybe sledding or skiing is another one. So I want you to think of all the different things we've talked about and write in your own words what the definition of friction is. Now, I also want you guys to do a little bit of an experiment at home. Just like I slid on my dorm floor in my socks, I want you guys to do the same thing at home in your own socks, seeing how friction is caused and what that looks like in everyday life. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I hope you guys understand friction a little bit better, and I cannot wait for you guys to get your experiment in tomorrow in class.